The Pittsburgh Steelers lost 30-6 to the Houston Texans at home last night in the wild card playoff game. Aaron Rodgers finished with 146 passing yards, 1 interception. CJ Stroud had 5 fumbles, 2 lost, 3 recovered. Where do I want to start? I'd like to start with the first 2 plays of this game. 10-yard run up the middle for Jaylen Warren, 17-yard screen pass to DK Metcalf. Right? All things are good through 2 plays. We got DK involved. We got the run game established. 3 and out after that, we punt the ball back to Houston, right? Houston shows nothing offensively, similarly to what the Steelers obviously did all day, but in the nice way possible, CJ Stroud lost this game more than the Steelers lost this game, I would say. And I know that sounds crazy, but CJ Stroud tried to lose them this game. I am so impressed, first and foremost, that, the most expensive defense in football, that is a turnover-prone base defense, showed up when it mattered. The defensive line attacked early on in this game. We proved that the Texans' offensive line was going to be one of the deciding factors of this game, and we attacked them early on. So much early on that our defense got so tired that we pinned them down at their own 8-yard line in the second quarter. And Houston drove 92 yards on us in one drive to score a touchdown on Christian Kirk. First touchdown of the game was a nice little fake toss behind him, roll out right to Christian Kirk for the touchdown. I thought it was I thought the entire drive, by the way, I was getting flashbacks to Kane. I don't know if you're here, but I remember the week that we stopped Jonathan Taylor, right? We stopped Jonathan Taylor from beating us. But yet the week after, Chase Brown rushes for 100 yards on us, right? And majority of those runs are just straight isolation runs up the middle because that's somehow what the Steelers lack. It's been 3 years in a row now that we've added defensive tackles, changed quote-unquote defensive schemes, added new linebackers in to stop that middle run. And Woody Marks and Nick Chubb combined for 160 yards on the ground on us. Arguably the worst rushing offense in all of football, combined for 160 yards rushing. Meanwhile, Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, who were looked at as more effective rushers in that game against Detroit than Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were, averaged 3.5 yards per carry in this one. And never really saw any big runs. We got 2 big runs, one 12-yarder, one 14-yarder out of Gainwell. DK Metcalf had 2 catches in the first 2 drives. Finished the game with 2 catches. Jonnu Smith was a part of that Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, if you guys remember. In the offseason, we traded Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey, who almost lost us that game against Baltimore. Shout out Tyler Whoop for missing the field goal, or Jalen Ramsey would have been the reason we lost that game for not stopping Isaiah Likely on that crossing route. Jonnu Smith finished the year this year with 222 receiving yards. 222 receiving yards, including -1 in the playoff game. -1 in this game. Pat Freiermuth had a beautiful Moss in this one. 1 catch. Let's not forget this is the same tight end that we said that we were not going to trade any of them for a wide receiver too, right? Because we got our guys. Well, they combined for 3 catches for 17 yards in this one. I was very impressed. I thought Adam Thielen played a good game when his number was called. I'm very, very happy with our defensive line performance, even though the run game really was, we couldn't stop the run. Specifically on that one drive, I thought we couldn't stop the run. Outside of that, I thought our D-line played great. It was great to see guys like TJ Watt make a big play. It was great to see a name like Yuya Black, our 5th-round pick, make a big play. Patrick Queen played a pretty solid game. Shout out, by the way, Chuck Clark coming over from Baltimore. I thought Chuck Clark, he got hurt. He flung his body around. I thought he played a great game. I do have to talk about Houston. Because this is a team, if I'm New England, I don't want to see this defense. I don't want to see this defense if I'm anyone in the playoffs. If I'm New England, if I'm Buffalo, if I'm Denver, if I'm an NFC team that they make the Super Bowl. I don't want to see this defense. between their secondary of Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie, Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley. They are really good. Even this guy, Jalen Reed. I mean, I know he got injured early in the game. I don't know how much he played for the rest of it. I wasn't really paying attention to him, but this secondary is incredible. You can't do anything on them. They're communicating real well all the time. The only way to beat them is by layering them and making them have to make a quick decision, and normally they bite on their go routes. Unfortunately, the Arthur Smith couldn't figure that out. Mind you, that was the only thing that worked in the passing game all day was when we layered a couple routes and we found, Adam Thielen on an underneath, or we saw DK go deep a couple times, right? That was the only way that the passing game was working for us was layers. And unfortunately, it didn't work. CJ Stroud tried to lose them this game for us, man. 3 turnovers in the first half. He threw a terrible interception in the red zone. Mind you, in the nicest way possible, I thought Brandon Eccles, number 26, played a horrendous game. I know he had the interception in the red zone. I thought he played a terrible game, Brandon Eccles. I got to give so much credit to where credit is due on the Steelers defense. A name that I was very critical of all his rookie year. Joey Porter Jr. has now gone over 1,450 consecutive snaps without allowing a touchdown. And not only that, he made Nico Collins' job as difficult as possible today. Nico Collins, 3 for 21, obviously went out in the second quarter, I believe it was, with the concussion, maybe beginning of the third. But even when Nico was in, shut down their wide receiver 1 easily because of Joey Porter Jr. So if I have to look at bright spots for the Steelers in the future, man, we got it. We got a cornerback 1 of the future. We have our linebacker 1 of the future. I love Peyton Wilson. We have great defensive linemen learning underneath our guys. Names like Nick Herbig, fantastic player. Jack Sawyer, fantastic player. Derek Harmon, Yuya Black. Asante Samuel Jr. played great. Alex Highsmith, not the game statistically you'd really want, but he's a great player. When I look at this defense, right, the thing is when I look at rebuilding teams in the NFL right now, you want to build your offensive line, you want to build your defensive line. I think that's where all great teams start. And the Steelers have one of the best offensive lines. Say what you want about this game specifically. Having a guy as our quarterback who actually got sacked because of our own offensive lineman, he can't move. I kept watching this game thinking to myself, if we had a guy, Justin Fields, Kyler Murray out there, man, just to extend a play every once in a while. It would just change the trajectory of what our offense could do.
Don't wish those on yourself, Justin Fields or Kyler Murray.
But
you wouldn't have been in the position you were in if you had either of those guys. You think they would have got to the playoffs with Justin Fields?
Yep.
I don't. I don't at all.
CJ tried to lose in this game. Not only did he have a couple bad passes that led to, an interception in the red zone or a couple missed throws, but I mean, him and that center could not get on the same page whatsoever. And I want to give so much credit to the Steelers fan base and the stadium last night.
Yeah, they did their job.
They held him to a silent. They held him to a silent count. CJ was looking right, snaps getting thrown to him, hitting off his shoulder and falling on the ground. We couldn't recover that. 3 turnovers in the first half led to 3 points for the Steelers. You want to know why we lost? There's your reason. 3 turnovers led to 3 points. We had that nice quote-unquote couple plays at the end there that gave us another field goal. Eric, I really thought your prediction of 7-6 was going to be right for 90% of this game. I can't lie. I kept thinking of when you wrote 7-6 on that Post-it note, and that's all I saw for 85% of this game was 7-6.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
So good job there.
Steve too. What about Steve saying 17-9? That looked like it was going to be right on.
The same problems continue to be the same problems in Pittsburgh. Same problems are the same problems. One, a team gets a little bit of motivation in running the ball up the middle, and the Steelers get pushed back about 3 yards, right? You start to wear us out defensively, especially in that interior D line, right? We're a big moments defense. We're a big play defense. But in terms of being able to stop a 3-yard run up the middle, it's going 6 yards. I can guarantee you it's going 6 yards up the middle. Woody Marks averaged 6 yards per carry against us, guys. Woody Marks. Now, I'm not saying Woody Marks is a bad running back. USC guy. I've watched him for a while. I thought he's very good. That offensive line is not deserving of allowing, 5.5 rushing yards per attempt last night. That offensive line is not good enough to have what happened a year ago with Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens. When I don't know if you guys remember this, they were up, I think it was 14-7, and then to go up 21-7, they ran the ball 14 straight plays on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They scored. So we took a defensive tackle in the first round, who, mind you, has been great all year. We took a defensive tackle in the 5th round. We took a defensive end in the 3rd round, saying this is going to help. We took a linebacker in the 4th, who said this is all going to help us stop the run. Well, the playoffs come around, and 164 rushing yards is handed on the Pittsburgh Steelers, 5.3 yards per rush. The play that I will remember about this game, and I know it was so early on that it sounds so minuscule, is that 17-yard outpost to DK Metcalf that Aaron Rodgers hit him in the hands.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a crucial play or anything special, but it makes sure that drive ends in a field goal, which means going into this halftime, we have a lead. A 9-7 halftime to me, as opposed to what we did, giving Texans the ball, Texans getting the ball back to start the 3rd quarter, doing nothing all 3rd quarter. Just having that lead going into the 4th quarter, I feel like could have changed the mentality of the Steelers and the fans, right? But, we brought Aaron Rodgers in to try and bring us back in close games. And Aaron Rodgers got leveled. There's no other way to put it. Our technically 2nd year, but it's his first real year starting, Troy Fautanu, left or right tackle, was put on Danielle Hunter on an island majority of the night. Danielle Hunter is a stud.
Yeah, that would have been tough for anybody.
That would have been tough for anyone. I was watching a lot of their D-line antics. Danielle Hunter was doing stuff pre-snap, moving his back and forth.
Always.
He was jumping before they even moved.
Yep.
And that's not even bringing up the name. Arguably, probably what I would consider right now the 2nd best player on any defense in football right now, Will Anderson Jr., who I think is a generational defensive end for this Houston Texans team. Being, mind you, put on an island with number 60, who I'm blanking on his full name right now, but I believe it's only his about 4th game starting in the NFL. We tried to chip block. We tried to do the Kenneth Gainwell little chip plays every once in a while. Unfortunately, when Rodgers holds onto that ball after he doesn't like his first read, he tries to go through his progressions. The problem is that this secondary is so fast at getting to the check down that it completely removed all aspects of Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren receiving. After that first drive, we couldn't do a screen pass to save our life. We tried having Marquez Valdez-Scantling out there blocking these guys, Adam Thielen out there blocking these guys, Jalen Petrie and Kamari Lassiter are sprinting through them every single time.
Amazing tacklers too.
Beyond good tacklers. They don't miss. It was. I do want to say I loved the commentary last night. Listening to them, I thought they did a great job of explaining stuff. I thought it's crazy to think about how Houston doesn't try and disguise anything they do.
They don't have to.
They will show you pre-snap what defense they're in. They'll show you that they're running man-to-man. They'll show you that they're only bringing 4. And you can't do nothing about it. Especially if you're Aaron Rodgers and his inability to move. Couldn't do anything about it.
He's old. He got sacked on one of those plays in the 2nd half. He didn't even get touched, and he just went down.
His offensive lineman hit him in the toe or something, and
he's old.
It was out.
He looked 42 playing against a bunch of 25-year-olds. However old. How old is Aaron Rodgers?
He's 42. If you go through the drives here, punt, 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 punt. We could not advance the ball past 10 yards on them. I mean, look at this. 8 plays, 4 yards on a field goal drive. We finally get the ball after a great fumble.
I know.
We go 4 yards in 8 plays.
I know.
We get an interception in the red zone. They drive all the way down the field. It looks like Houston's going to put this game away. And next thing you know, Brandon Eccles, who's getting torched all day, gives me a little bit of hope after CJ Stroud throws a terrible, terrible throw.
He was awful last night.
Well, we go 8 plays, 23 yards. Well, our defense, after all they said was how tired we looked and, everything, we come back. We held them to another 3 and out. I thought our defense continued playing well. We punt right back to them. We then hold them to a field goal. It's 10-6. Rodgers, he's getting the ball, guys, to start the fourth quarter. Down by 4. This is all you could ask for, right? This is why we picked up Aaron Rodgers. And he gets smacked. No other way to put it. That picture will be a meme in Aaron Rodgers haters for years. Especially if that's the last, this is the last couple plays of his career. He gets smacked, ball goes back, falls into I think they technically ruled it an interception because it never hit the ground. Big man, number 90, takes it all the way to the house. Houston goes up 17-6, and the game was over from there. Whether or not you want to talk about, the touchdown drive that Houston put together, or the pick 6 that Rodgers threw on that last drive, right? None of that really mattered. The game was over after 17-6, in my opinion. Thank you, first and foremost, as a Steelers fan. Thank you, Mike Tomlin. I don't know a day of a Steelers fandom without him. In my whole life, I've never gone a day of Steelers fandom without Mike Tomlin being my head coach. The same problems are the same problems. Whether it's defensively, not being able to stop the run when we made all these offseason changes to stop the run. Whether it's blitzing 5 guys and not getting pressure on 3rd and longs and Christian Kirk's getting open deep over the middle, which, mind you, it was Zay Flowers the week before. It was Jameson Williams against the Lions. It was T. Higgins and Jamar Chase for the Bengals, right? These deep balls are every single time. It's the same problems are the same problems. Past 9 years, we've gone above 500, 9 years. We've made the playoffs 7 times. We're 0-7 in those 7 playoff games.
And a lot of them were by double digits. They were all a lot of them were games like this.
A lot of them are blowouts. Or at least, we're going into the second half of the fourth quarter saying we don't got a chance. This game's already over.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in this position. I don't know any other way to put it. We did. When we really brought in Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Adam Thielen halfway through the season and said, no, we don't got to trade for no wide receiver too, right? We got our guys. We like our guys. We have our tight ends in Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith, who we traded for, who finished the year with 200 yards on the season. Pat Freiermuth doesn't get a target
I couldn't believe that.
until the first drive of the fourth quarter. Not a target for Freiermuth.
Whenever they do those little quick passes to him, like they did a lot against Baltimore, where they just snap it and then he doesn't even look anywhere, he goes in. I'm like, I don't understand. I would do that so much more. He has so much size and he's so good at getting inside. Pat Freiermuth.
It's funny because when I watched the beginning
I
of
don't
this
know
game,
if you could have just done that on this defense,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I'm like, it looked like they didn't even really look at Patrick Freiermuth.
when I was watching the beginning of this game, I was honestly very happy because it felt like we were almost taking Derek Stingley out of this game. He was lining up very much man press coverage on Calvin Austin because of the sides, right? They have their sides on defense. That's kind of how Houston runs their defense. And he was lined up on Calvin Austin a lot of the game. I'm like, wow, their best player in the secondary is, we're not looking Calvin Austin's way half the time if Stingley's on him, but it eliminated the half of the field. Rodgers tried. That was not a DP.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
CJ Stroud 100% tried to lose them. 100% tried to lose them this game. If they lose in New England next week, it's because that defense stopped the run, so they didn't, New England didn't allow 160 yards rushing, and CJ Stroud continued to make the same mistakes we saw. A lot of credit to Mr. Christian Kirk. You know, it was Gabe Davis a couple of years ago with the Steelers beating us. It was, I believe, Rashad Bateman against us a year ago. And now Christian Kirk turns into the wide receiver 2 that shows up on a Monday night game. First time the Steelers have lost a Monday night game in 34 years. We witnessed it live. What do I want going into next year?
New head coach.
Davis Mills is a better QB than CJ Stroud, by the way. Shout out Kane.
Davis Mills looked better than Aaron Rodgers last night. I mean, call it what it was. I mean, to not score a touchdown at home, it's like, you know, listen, the Steelers to win 10 games this year, I think is, you really look at it, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? But Houston's a much better team. They are so much better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got major issues, just like you're saying about like where they're going to throw the ball to. Defensively, like I never realized until you said it a couple weeks ago, the amount of money they've spent on their defense. I looked at it,
$164 million, $20 million more than any other team has spent on their defense.
They ain't 20 million. They're not playing like that. You know, they're nowhere near, you know, Houston,
Denver, Seattle. I could keep going. Like
the Patriots, for Christ. You know, like, a lot of these teams, especially you look at other playoff teams. You know what I mean? It's like they're far off, and especially when I think obviously Watt's a stud. He's playing hurt. He's one of the best players in football. But Highsmith is no slouch. But then after that, it's like, you know, they're cornerbacks. With the money these guys are getting paid, they got to be playing linebacker. You know, Patrick Queen, like you said, he doesn't look the same as when he came into the league with the Ravens. He looks like a different player.
Yeah. He was like
nose tackle, like you said. They shouldn't have been just getting 4 yards up the middle like that every single time last night. You know?
Every single time.
The Texans are kind of like one of those teams, again, and I didn't think their offense was good by no means last night, but, you know, that's not a team where it's like, oh, we're just going to run the ball. That's not who they are.
Never. All season long, they haven't been that way.
Because that's not the strong part of their team.
I mean,
I heard someone say earlier today, it was like, the Texans don't play complimentary football. They just have their defense win them the game. The offense was terrible last night.
Nico Collins, their wide receiver one goes down with a concussion.
I mean, that's bad, too. And that's tough. That's tough.
Mind you, Joey Porter Jr. had him on clamps. I love Joey Porter Jr. He's becoming one of my favorite Steelers recently. But, I mean, to allow Chuck Clark and Brandon Eccles and I'm trying to remember the other. Asante Samuel Jr. get killed by Christian Kirk all day. We had multiple third down stops right in our hands. We blitzed 5, right? Please, Terrell Austin, stop blitzing Patrick Queen up the middle. He isn't good at it. There's no other way to put it. He was getting taken out of the game of his blitzes every single time by Woody Marks and Nick Chubb blocking him. That is pathetic. Listen, the Steelers' offensive line, in my opinion, has been the top 8 offensive line in football this year. And they just got dominated. There's no other way. The Texans' offensive line, between Sheldon Rankins, number 90, I know he got the touchdown, but you could take away the touchdown that he had, and he played an incredible game.
Oh, yeah.
He was monster over Isaac Samalo, our left guard.
He was great.
Naquan Jones, I'd never heard of this guy. Dude was a monster in the middle. Derek Barnett came in and played great minutes for them. Their linebackers are fantastic between To'o or whatever his name is and Aziz Al-Shaair. Both of them are
Al-Shaair is incredible, dude.
Ridiculous linebackers. You can get into their secondary. I named all 5 of their guys. All 5 of them are good.
Yeah.
Just good. And they stumped Rodgers. Rodgers knew what he was looking at. It was funny. You could tell he was, you could tell that we had a plan. They just shut every single part of that plan down. Quick passes were tackled in the backfields. The run plays, I think we ran that pitch play that, that worked against the Lions over and over and over again. I think we ran that one time and it was a negative 2-yard rush.
That didn't work on this.
Our first, I know someone mentioned Arthur Smith earlier in the chat, saying, Arthur Smith could be a big reason for why we lost this game. I think the only thing that I would really get on Arthur Smith about is specifically was our first down play calling. Our first down, the amount of times that I had to watch the Steelers fall back into a 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 10, Rodgers in empty formation on 3rd and 12s. I mean, they talked about it all halftime. The Texans were dominating third downs on both sides of the ball. They were 7 for 9 in the first half on third down on offense. The Steelers were 0 for 7 on third downs on offense. The average distance on a third down for the Texans, I think, was like 4.5 yards. The average distance on a third down for the Steelers was 11.7 yards. We were going negative 1.7 yards on average for before 7 third downs. I mean, that's abysmal.
Wait, repeat that? I don't know what you just said.
Our average third down yardage was 11.7 in this game. So on third downs.
Oh, if you took every third down. Wait, what?
Yeah, our third down plays ran on average from 3rd and 11.7.
Oh.
Where their third downs were ran 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it.
They can't.
You can't do that against the Texans defense.
You can't do that against anybody.
You have to get to 2nd and 7. That's all I was asking Arthur Smith to get to. Because all Arthur Smith's offense has been since he's become the offensive coordinator of the Steelers, right? But whether it was Justin Fields, whether it was Kenny Pickett when Kenny Pickett was still around, or whether it was Rodgers this year, right? We guaranteed ourselves a 3-yard check down. Almost every play. That's why Kenneth Gainwell was our team MVP. That's why Darnell Washington was such an impactful player for us this year, right? It was because we always had a 3-yard, 4-yard play available. I don't know if it was entirely the Texans defense or entirely what this place calling is, right? I'm not involved with the team, but I mean, getting to 2nd and 10 and plus every single second down, specifically after our defense just made a heck of a turnover and a big play where the crowd's going nuts, just wiped all momentum from the crowd. If this is Aaron Rodgers' last game, top 2 quarterback of my lifetime, maybe top 3 if I want to throw Mahomes in there, but top 2 quarterback of my lifetime. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for coming to the Steelers and, last-ditch effort with Tomlin and Rodgers is what it felt like.
Maybe they'll run it back next year.
Dear God, I pray to God I don't.
Maybe you never know.
Pray to God.
Something tells me Aaron Rodgers isn't just going to be, say, I'm retired tomorrow and not coming back.
Aaron Rodgers won't retire for at least another 2 years of football.
And he'll entertain coming back,
I hope that what happens with Aaron Rodgers is that he doesn't sign with a team, and then some team that's fighting for a playoff hunt next year, quarterback goes down, Daniel Jones goes down,
pull a Phillip Rivers,
J.J. McCarthy goes down, and they bring in Aaron Rodgers, right? That's what I could see happening.
That's ideal for him. He don't want to go to training camp and practice.
I agree. I think that would be ideal for both sides. But the same problems continue to be the same problems. 10 and 7 on the season. We squeaked into the playoffs from a 3-yard miss, right? And the Texans dropped 23 points unanswered on us in that fourth quarter. They win 30-6. Rodgers walked off the field, didn't say a word to anyone other than MVS in the locker room. Mike Tomlin walked off the field, didn't say really a word to anyone, shook the hand, but that was it. Big changes are coming in Pittsburgh.
You think so?
I mean, at least our quarterback's changing. I don't know what's gonna happen with Tomlin. I'm gonna let that play itself out. I'll react to it when it happens. I'm not gonna say I want Tomlin or don't want Tomlin right now. With the amount of head coaches that are available out there right now and the offensive coordinators that have been, the coordinators that are out there and stuff, I'm very hopeful that the Steelers bring some light in this offseason that brings me some offensive hope outside of Arthur Smith and what we've had recently. But to think that the Houston Texans ran for 101 more yards on us, averaged 2 more yards per carry, when going into this game, the Steelers' offensive line was ranked 3rd. The Houston Texans offensive line was ranked 25th. Really frustrated me. That 92-yard drive got me. I can't lie. That got me more than anything because I was talking to my dad for like 90% of this game. I was like, man, if Tomlin does what he always does and controls the line of scrimmage, right? He controls where the Houston Texans are starting their drives and where the Steelers are starting their drives, right? Steelers were starting their drives on 35, 40. Texans had so many drives in the first 3 quarters. They started within their own 10-yard line. Shout out to Presley Harvin, our punter, played great. That 92-yard drive proved to the Houston Texans that they can do it, that they can just run the ball right up the middle against us. And that was it from there.
I think, like you said, about, if there's coordinated changes, I mean, who knows what happens with the head coach, but how many years has Omar Khan been in Pittsburgh now?
Only 3 or 4 years now.
I mean, like you said.
And he's been, I gotta say, he's been fantastic.
You spend all that money on that defense, though, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta look at that. It's like, again, for Pittsburgh to have that much money in going against the salary cap on the defensive side of the ball, it's like, you gotta be better than they were this. When you really look at like the AFC, right? Think of the teams that were in there. It was Houston. Yeah, go to this. Yeah, just go to. Yes, it's that whole left side. The Chargers, the Patriots, the Bills, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Steelers, Denver, and who's the other? Oh yeah, there's only one place. Denver's the other team. I mean, I would say all those teams are better than the Steelers. I thought Tomlin's coaching got them there, but when you really look at this Steelers team, I'm like, they have to improve massively if they want to, because there wasn't that much of it. I didn't think there was that much of a difference this year between them and Baltimore. I know their record was better and they won. There really wasn't, I didn't think there was that much of a difference between them and, a lot of these other teams out there. Indianapolis at times, you know what I mean? Like, granted, they had the injury bug hit them and stuff, but I think the Steelers, I think Tomlin's a great coach. He'll be a Hall of Fame, all that stuff. Won a Super Bowl. It's like, as far as, getting guys ready, he's an amazing coach. But it just probably ran its similar to Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's a great coach, but it's like it ran its course with Belichick, and he was the best I ever saw coach. So it just might be a whole next 2-3 years just. And I mean, I tell you, that's probably what a lot of Steelers fans would want, right? Like,
majority of Steelers fans on social media are calling for Tomlin fired, or at least not with the organization next year.
Ways or whatever,
whatever they want to call it. Building around draft picks, trying to build around the draft, and the thing I keep trying to tell people is, you got to remember though, not even a year ago, we signed T.J. Watt.
Oh, I know.
To $41 million over 3 years.
Yeah.
We bring in Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey made $27 million this year, guys.
I can't believe that. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
so
like
if you want to talk about the financials of it, right? That's $70 million tied into Jalen Ramsey and T.J. Watt.
How old is Jalen Ramsey too?
32 years old, and T.J.'s 31. Cam Hayward.
Defensive end, though, is a lot different than being a defensive back, though.
Easy.
You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of guys, defensive ends, they'll have their best years at 32, 33 years old.
Let's not forget, Darius Slay can't play football, and he's only like 34.
Yeah, and he's been ancient. He's been like that for the last few years, but it's like Jalen Ramsey getting paid all that money. Again, I think Jalen Ramsey's still a good player, but it's like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot for Jalen Ramsey. Again, there's a salary cap. It's not like it's 1991 where it's like, you could just be the Cowboys and pay anyone whoever the hell you want. Like, that counts. It limits what else you can do.
Extended Cam Hayward, obviously. He's making, I think, upwards of $15 to $18 million this year.
Yeah, but that was a big part of
Patrick Queen was a 3-year, $42 million guy. So, when you look through...
Highsmith isn't cheap either.
Highsmith definitely ain't cheap. When you look through and you really look at it, it's like... I mean, we paid $30 million this year for this guy right here.
And are they going to entertain bringing him back? I mean,
well, you have to bring him back. He's on a 5-year deal.
Yeah, but they could void a lot of that stuff out though because of the suspension, and they're saying they're not gonna. I don't see how the hell after the way. Again, you talk about
showing that he hasn't played in a couple weeks. Those 2 drops he had last night, especially the one early in the game. The first one he had going towards the sideline, the game was up in the air. It was, what was the score, 3-0 or something? It was right
early, and and we needed it. We need drives like that.
It's like a 3rd and 10. It was like, and they would have been well into field goal range.
It was a 2nd and 10.
Whatever
and
it was.
It was a 25-yard gain at least.
No reason for him not to catch that ball, you know. But it's like, you know what? You don't play the last 2 weeks. You know, granted, I know he can practice and stuff, but you know, you're not catching live balls with a defensive back on you. You know what I mean? So
we're trying to draw those, you know, pitch plays to his side to block.
Oh yeah, no.
DK blocking any of those Houston guys? Are we kidding me here?
That's a tough assignment.
But yeah, we put in Ben Skoranek, which is the most obvious run plays of all time. So then the Texans just play as up as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough loss. It was a tough game to watch. First wild card blowout and really bad game of the wild card playoffs. Of course, that had to be my Pittsburgh Steelers that it happened to.
But I mean, being you know, a fair fan, like a honest person here, it's like this can't be that surprising, right?
I mean, really, I look at this game and I say it was like 17-6, right? Like those last 2 touchdowns, I will view very whatever.
Sure.
I can say it's a little surprising in my opinion, because if you had told me C.J. Stroud was going to fumble the ball 5 times, I would have told you.
No, I know, but
I'm
saying going into this.
Yeah, going into it, their defense was the best aspect of this game, right?
Yeah,
the number one thing going into this game was if the Texans defense just plays
basically
normal, they win the game. And I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, this probably is. I've been calling for Denver all year, but after watching last night, man, this Texans defense really probably is the best defense in football.
They might be the best unit left of any of these teams. You know what I mean?
Anything.
It's like, but you know, I wasn't particularly surprised by this one. Just the fact it's like, again, you got a 42-year-old quarterback who wasn't there during OTAs, and then he pissed me off too. And I see him screaming on the side. I understand being frustrated the way he is, but again, it's like it goes back to when Metcalf was suspended and he couldn't get on the same page with
Jonnu Smith
and Valdez Scantling. It's like if you had an extra month and a half of practice, this stuff usually gets ironed out. You know what I mean? So. I don't know. I look at the Steelers, and if I was them again, I know Tom will be a legend there forever. He won a Super Bowl,
I love
kept them competitive. But this might just be a whole entire start this thing over. You just really might need to start this whole thing over. You know?
Yeah, I wonder if they're. I wonder when and if that happens with Tomlin.
Oh, I mean, the next couple of days. I mean, it would have to be today or tomorrow. You would expect that to come out. I mean, because they're already a week behind in the sense of, you know,
interviews and everything.
The guys were interviewing last week. So
that's why it almost makes me think that Tomlin might be back for one more year, because it just feels like it's one of those things where the Steelers are behind. 2, they're not really a team that, unless they're in love with someone, they just don't really like make big decisions, right? Especially, we've only had 3 head coaches in the past, I think it's like 50-something years. So I'd be very surprised to see them fire Tomlin with, you know, and then start interviewing a bunch of guys like kind of like a Falcons team is. I would expect the Steelers to have a big plan if they end up doing it.
Well,
I agree. Tomlin ain't leaving unless he's fired or has a season record less than 50% wins.
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't know enough about him and anything like that. But there's a lot of good jobs out there. And if you're Tomlin and you see like
the Giants,
the Falcons, you know what I mean? Like you see a few of these jobs out here. You know, I mean, I don't think he would want. Who knows? But it's like. Well, maybe he just wants a year off. It's like because he has
I
to
did
know
see the rumors that he would go to
this thing
media. He would love to go to media for a little bit.
Well, whenever I hear him in like podcasts and stuff, I think he's good. Like you hear him, he can talk and he's like entertaining and stuff. So
great stories.
Whenever there's coaches doing stuff like they're usually always good with stuff like that because they're just so knowledgeable, especially somebody like him, a Hall of Famer. But I don't know. It's like I wonder if he knows what's coming forward. Do you think he wants to wait around for another 2 years and be like, we got a clean house? And who knows? Who knows what happens here? So it'll be interesting, whatever it happens. But I'd say it would happen in the next day.
I don't know what direction the Steelers, Omar Khan, and the Rooney family wants to go in. I'll obviously, as a Steeler fan, I'll support whichever direction they go. And if we go 10-7 and lose in the first round of the playoffs next year, I'll have some hope that we can win a playoff game. But
this Rooney, this younger one, he's never had a coaching change, right? He wasn't there when Bill Cowher was there, so it's always been it was still his dad. So.
And as for Houston, CJ, they got to clean up whatever that was. They got to clean it up going into.
And that's what I'm saying about the Steelers. It's like the way their offense, the way Houston's offense, to fumble the ball 5 times like that and be as bad as Stroud was last night. I mean, dude, you gotta to only score 6 points out of that. It's like it's the whole team. It's you can look at the offense, defense, everything. Andy had the interception last night too.
In the red zone, which was a terrible throw.
Awful. It's like. I mean, it's crazy with Stroud. Remember a couple of years ago when I thought this guy was going to be like an absolute stud.
Well, because of how good his rookie year was.
No doubt about that, Slabville. Houston's defense is super legit, but you can't expect your offense. I don't care how good your defense is. You can't expect your offense to do that. I don't care who you're playing.
Not four straight games in the playoffs.
No way.
Not on the road.
No
all 4.
Way. No way. Listen, there's no doubt their defense is going to play well against them. They played well every single game.
Every game.
Yeah, when they were 0-3, they were fine. You know what I mean?
Look at 14-point loss, 20 points, 17. Yeah. It was that their offense was so bad that they couldn't score.
Their defense has been good the entire season. In fact, their defense has gotten better as the season's gone on. But it's just going to be you can't do that offensively. You just can't. I mean, that was terrible. And then obviously it's the big thing. I mean, it'll be hard for him to be worse than he was last night. I'll say that. It'll be hard for him to be worse. But again, it's like, he's going to be going against a better team than the Steelers. Like, this is the thing. You can't do this 4 times in a row. You cannot do it in the playoffs. You cannot. Because he's going against a better team. It's going to be an interesting one.
Possibly Rodgers' last throw of his career is a pick 6. Crazy to think. What a legendary. If he does hang it up, if this is the last time we see Aaron Rodgers on a football field, what an incredible Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be one you look back, I feel like
you want him to get another Super Bowl or 2 on his career.
He's probably going to be frustrated at parts of his career, like a lot of them, especially with Green Bay, some of those years where,
48-5 in 2020 under Matt LaFleur, and they barely win. I don't think they lost their second playoff game to Brady. 37-4 the next year. 40-7 in 2016. 38-5 in 2014 after coming out from an injury. 39-8. 45-6 in 2011 when he beat us. In 2011 when he beat us. I mean, Hall of Fame.
No, 2011. What was it?
No, we were like 2000.
Yeah, the year before.
Yeah, we were the year before.
2011 though, they were 15-1.
Yeah.
And they lost after the bye to the Giants. It's like at home. It's like 2019's another one where they got smoked by the 49ers. You know what I mean? That game was, I forget what the score of that game was. It was like 48-12. It was an embarrassment. He had a bad loss to the Falcons. I think he's going to look back at parts of his career with a lot of frustration. Again, he did get a Super Bowl in there, but to only get to the Super Bowl one time for him, I think that's underwhelming. Obviously, great, amazing player and all that, but he's going to be an interesting one when you look back when it's all over. Like, I don't know. I think of the great quarterbacks I see. I think I'd go Brady, obviously, Manning, Mahomes, Breeze. I think I'd say Rodgers was a better player than Breeze.
Me too.
Because Rodgers played in the elements.
Might be able to start putting Stafford in this conversation too.
Yeah, you got to wait till that's why you have to wait till they retire.
Yeah.
But exactly, like look at the late career push Stafford has. But granted, Stafford had a lot of stinkers early in his career.
Mind you, Stafford is at the age that Rodgers was at in 2020 when 48-5. So. Almost similarly to that, where this is like a peak season for them.
But 2020 was he the MVP of that COVID year?
Yeah, he was 2020 and 2021, back-to-back MVPs in Green Bay.
With bad losses to Tampa Bay, and then they lost to San Francisco, and both losses at Lambeau Field too.
Steelers' run game absolutely failed them too. 12 rushes for 43 yards, 3.6 average yards per carry. Kenneth Gainwell 3.3. Gainwell got lit up by some of these guys.
When you can't throw the ball, you can't run the ball. That was just that's what I'm saying. Like the type of loss they had last night.
you gotta start it over. I know it's tough, especially for that team where it's like they just won the division
at home.
Yeah, like you just
against Baltimore. That was their Super Bowl, man.
Exactly. You just won a division, but it's like that's not a franchise where it's like you celebrate winning a division like that. I know. It's like that's a franchise where you celebrate Super Bowls, So. And the fact they haven't been there in a while. When was the last time they were there?
The Packers.
When Rodgers beat them, right?
Yeah.
Man. Again, I know they had Brady in there and Peyton Manning and stuff, but for a team
being a team that's gone over 500
with the same head
for
coach
18 straight seasons
and a Hall of Fame quarterback for a big part of that.
9 years straight now, we have been above 500. 7 of those years we've made the playoffs, and we have no wins in the playoffs since the last team we beat was the 2016 Miami Dolphins in the playoffs. I mean, we are actually at a decade now of watching no Steelers playoff wins.
2016.
And maybe 2017 it was Miami. I know it was a wild card year, but we lost to you guys.
Patriots?
Yeah, which mind you, we lost to you guys like 4 straight years or something.
I know.
But yeah, the last time we won a playoff game was
It was that year. That was the year the Patriots came back on the Falcons. That's a long time, man. Again, that's a long time again for a team, just a full-on team that's like, it's not like these are like the Jets or anything like that. You know what?
It's a franchise with expectations and belief and hopes.
And had a Hall of Fame head coach.
Technically, we have what we considered one of the best defensive players in football over the past 5 to 10 years, right? We've had, we brought in guys
Defensive
like,
player of the year.
We bring in a guy like Patrick Queen. We bring him over from Baltimore, make Baltimore worse. We think we're making us better. We bring in a guy like Jalen Ramsey. Cam Hayward sticks with us through all this time, even with all the contract stuff that he dealt with. He sticks with us. Alex Highsmith, when he was getting injured, was in how many trade rumors for a wide receiver? I saw so many swaps last year for him, for Brandon Ayuk, for Stephon Diggs when he was in Houston, yada, yada, yada. And now it's like, what is the next step? I don't know what the next step is. We got to see the decision they make on Tomlin first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing is what decision they make.
Do they have anyone they would think about promoting within Pittsburgh that would be...
Definitely neither of our 2 coordinators, because Arthur Smith is not going to be no head coach, and Terrell Austin needs to be put into, I don't know, a retirement home. I am so done of seeing Terrell Austin, his face calling plays when I have to watch another 7-yard run up the middle by Woody Marks. I am so sick and tired of watching this dude call our defensive plays for us to have 3 defensive tackles that we should be trusting in big-time situations, and Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward. Those 3 guys are above average defensive tackles in the NFL league, and that's not even talking about Yuya Black, who, as a rookie, had a defensive fumble recovery in this one and played a hell of a rookie year. And yet, we cannot rotate our defensive linemen enough for something to stop Woody Marks and Nick Chubb from combining for 5.3 yards per carry on us. And that's honestly down a little bit because Cade Stover had a 4-yard run. So whatever the average is between this, 160 over 30 carries. 160 yards over 30 carries as opposed to 60 yards on 18 carries for us. It's a recipe for loss. It's a recipe for losing. DK Metcalf not having a catch. By the way, not only not having a catch, not having a target in either the second or third quarter of this game.
He probably didn't feel confident throwing it to him after the ball's hitting him in the hands early on. That's what you get with Rodgers.
We had one really good 4th down conversion to Adam Thielen. I was very impressed with the play call. Mind you, we got 2 yards after that and settled for the field goal either way. Thanks for going for it on 4th down just to get 2 yards after that. Calvin Austin almost had a catch. Calvin Austin almost had a catch in this one. That deep ball that literally, if it went an extra centimeter in the air and dropped a little slower, he could have gotten to it. But I thought Lassiter made a great play on the ball on that play. Jonnu Smith 1 year ago was a Pro Bowler. This guy right here was a Pro Bowler in Miami 1 year ago. Comes to the Steelers and is outside the top 100 in receptions. 222 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he had 3 touchdowns because technically he got a rushing touchdown this year. But, how do you go from, 88 catches and 884 yards? You bring him in to pair him with Arthur Smith, which I thought was kind of funny because if you kind of look through, some of his least productive years are with Arthur Smith as his offensive coordinator. I know he loved him, quote unquote, in Tennessee, but he never got over 450 yards in Tennessee.
Yeah,
then
but
he matched up with him in Atlanta.
When he was with Tennessee, though, he was way more in the run game with those
Oh,
Derrick
yeah.
Henry. He was, because the Patriots brought him in, and it's like, he was flat those Patriots years, but people were expecting way, like, again, for him to have however many catches he had with Miami last year, that's a little bit of false. That's not really who he is.
But at the same time, to not be able
But
to be with us from that point on, to be with us from the trade,
Yeah.
and we're still in the playoffs. I mean, last week I saw Aaron Rodgers complaining to him that he wasn't getting the audibles right. This week he can't. He's still like non-existent in our offense. It's like, you know, why are we downgrading from Minkah Fitzpatrick to Jalen Ramsey if we're bringing in Jonnu Smith as the biggest guy? For them, by the way, Minkah is like the deep ball guy on our defense, stops the deep threat. Ramsey doesn't do that as much. He's more of like that nickel. He wants to play up more, so it completely changes our defensive schemes. And then the guy we get on offense doesn't produce.
Well,
Frustrating.
he had that year. Jonnu Smith went to the Atlanta Falcons after the Patriots. He was pretty good there compared to what he was. Let me see.
Yeah, 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah,
This was Arthur Smith's last year coaching with the Falcons, I believe, too. Because he was with Tennessee and then Atlanta. But you see, look at 11 yards a catch, 10 yards a catch, even 9 yards a catch of the Patriots. I know it wasn't as much, but
and then 5.
he's underwhelming. Yeah, underwhelming this year. Did he play every game? He did play every game.
Played every game this year.
But how many? Let me see. Go back. Let me look at his numbers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, 30 years old is old in the NFL. You know what I mean? It's. But yeah, no. It seems like he never really fit into this team this year.
Yeah, no, never. Just disappointed. Nothing more than disappointed. Especially watching C.J. Stroud have the start of the game that he did.
Oh my God!
Just so disappointed we couldn't capitalize on it.
That's got to be a big. I didn't think that was a penalty at all. I saw them yelling about
No,
that.
that
Right
was
there.
not. I agree. It was not a DP at all. Don't even.
I'm like, what are you? Yeah,
Not a DP.
100%. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you bring Rodgers in again. I don't think again, as great as a player as Rodgers is,
42 years old.
with a bad attitude, a terrible attitude. And I saw some of the stuff after the game where I'm like, oh my God, dude. I don't need to hear this right now. He has a bad attitude. And again, I know he played hard and did all this, but it's like I think he's part of this issue. It just needs to start over. I think the Steelers just need to start. If I was the Steelers, it'd be tough to say, but I think you need to start over.
Yeah. It's just 7 playoff.
Totally, and the Steelers on a team where I've never seen in my life. Again, I'm going on 25 years of watching football, and the Steelers have always been the same thing. The Bill Cowher team wasn't really that much different than Mike Tomlin. All that changed was the game changed. You know what I mean? It's like you knew what you were getting.
Yeah.
And I think too with the Steelers, like growing up, and even I know Roethlisberger, those teams that won Super Bowls and even got to, it was defense first. You know what I mean? When's the last time? All those teams that, let's face it, they underperformed with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, the latter part of
course.
They weren't defensive no more. You know what I mean? Harrison was older. There was the drama with James Harrison. Obviously, Palomalu. They haven't been a defensive football. They don't have those guys there no more. Where
We have a good enough defense to get us to the playoffs every year. We have a good enough defense to get us to the playoffs and allow our offense to game manage enough to get us 9 wins. And unfortunately, our ceiling has never been there. We've never had a Super Bowl ceiling over the past decade of watching this team. And it's always been the one side, like when we had Bell and Brown, right? It was the defense. We couldn't. Even on a shootout game,
Juju
we couldn't.
Smith-Schuster.
Oh yeah,
He was really good early.
I could get into
Bryant.
all those guys, right? Like we had guys. I mean, we've had guys throughout this whole tenure of the past 10 years of Tomlin. But you don't win a playoff game in a decade, and you've made it 7 times. Change has got to be made.
Yeah, and
change has got to be made.
They were always a team. The Steelers. Part of the reason I hated the Steelers because they were a good team and all that stuff. These teams these last few years, I feel like it's had no character. Like T.J. Watt's an absolute stud. I don't think he has any personality. Like again, he's a better player than Joey Porter was. Okay, but Joey Porter was he brought other things to the team, you know, and that's not a knock on them, but I just feel like as a whole, there's like no Palomalu, a huge personality, you know what I mean? It's like
That's what I think we expected. What after week 1 when Ramsey smacked Garrett Wilson through the body to win us that Jets game, right? It felt like we had it.
They haven't had anyone like that on defense. I feel like since probably last time they won a Super since I don't know James Harrison. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like they just don't have that no more.
Yeah.
And that's something that coaching brings in. That's something that Tomlin, like, you know, people always criticize Tomlin. Like, I remember when he won that Super Bowl, you know, a lot of people, I always remember well, Brady was hurt, and, you know, he got Cowher's team. A lot of people were saying that, you know what I mean? But it was like, all right, you could say, like, I'll listen to that to a T, but it's like he coached them in there, they won, and the team was extremely competitive, being led by him those years afterwards. Like, there was a lot of good Steelers in there. That team that won the team that won, and then they lost to Green Bay. No, I'm talking about the second time they won in 2009
against the Cardinals.
Yes, the Arizona one.
Yeah.
The full-on Tomlin team. You know what I mean? Like they were good after that. They could have beat Green Bay in that Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It's like, and then obviously the Patriots were there, and it's like but the team had such giant personality and whatever. Damn, Tomlin looks like a dead man. That ain't a good picture for him at the bottom. His eyes like that. You see that photo? It's not a good photo at all.
Yeah, I'll do more reporting when
We might
when
hear something in
Tomlin.
the next. It might be in the
It
next.
might, if it happens today, then you'll see live reactions of stuff from
Maybe in the
Tomlin
next
and
couple
whatever.
hours.
But tough loss. Still go Steelers.
How you doing, brother?
Still go Steelers. And
What's going on over here?
would have loved to see our offense just get in the end zone once. A little bit of
Need anything,
momentum.
let me know.
Would have
These young
loved.
kids need to be disciplined. You let me know.
Would have loved to see, let's get to that 9-point mark, that double-digit mark earlier in this game with the amount of turnovers CJ was giving us and handing us on silver platters, and their center was not playing well, and Nico Collins out of the game, right? So technically, their best player on offense out of the game. It felt like, if I were to have seen 5 fumbles from CJ Stroud and Nico Collins got a concussion, I would have told you we won this game probably 17-15, and we lost 30-6. Tough loss for the Steelers, but we move on. We got to see what's going on with Tomlin. We got to see what Rodgers, after he makes his ayahuasca trip, what he decides to do, and we'll go from there. But a tough wild card loss for the Steelers, 30-6 win. Houston moves on to New England.